This is August 17th, 2021, and because of COVID, we are still meeting with the public can hear us virtually, and we're meeting at the MedCap building. You have a copy of the agenda before you. At this time, we'll have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and second that the agenda be approved. Are there any additions or deletions to this agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries. You have a copy of the minutes from July 20th. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from July 20th.
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and second that the minutes be approved. Are there any deletions or corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries. Okay, public comments. I think what has happened is for public comments, if we have received an email, you would have a copy of the email. I think the executive director forwarded the emails to us for public comments. I will ask the executive director. We have two. Are these the only two public comments received based on the timeline that we have? Thank you so very much. I know you have had an opportunity to read it, but I will ask the executive director, will you just share with us what you have seen in the public comments? No, I don't mind at all. Okay. Yvonne? And you will see that we have the same comments. We have the same comments that the executive director has.
Okay, this one is from Alice Whitting. Hi Kathy, would it be possible to include a Sunday to the early voting schedule? The addition of a Sunday for the general election proved to be very popular. Maybe the same would hold true for municipal elections. Thank you, Alice.
Okay.
This one is from Elaine Berry. Before finalizing the calendar for early voting in both the Burlington Municipal Primary and the Municipal General Election, please add a Sunday in each. Voting in municipal elections is historically very light. We should try to encourage voting in the municipal elections, not discourage it. Sunday is the only day many voters can conveniently vote due to their work schedules. African Americans who typically vote more on weekends than weekdays are especially underserved when denied the option of Sunday voting. Including the option of Sunday voting in Alamance County is essential to ensuring voting access and increasing voting in the municipal election.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, at this time, I am going to I would like to hear from each board member. Do you have any comments or want to respond to the public comment at this time?
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
In looking at it and, the fact that we've already passed the budget for this year, we did that. It was unanimous vote. However, in saying that, I would not be opposed to maybe having one Sunday. I know I think in the primary is too late probably, Kathy, in the first election.
That deadline is passed.
Yeah, that deadline is passed, but in the second one, I would not be opposed to having maybe one Sunday set aside for early voting, say like from 2 to 4, 2 hours. That we'd still have to pay the employees for 4 hours, but that might be something that we could incur. The municipality's going to incur the bulk of the cost, but that may be something we could do. And so that's just my thinking on this matter.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else?
I had a question. So the early voting on Sunday for the primary in the municipal election, that's not a possibility because the deadline is passed. But the possibility exists that there could be early voting on Sunday for the general election
Well,
in the municipal.
I have provided the chair with the procedure that you would go through for that because you made a unanimous vote at the last meeting.
Yeah.
And all of that information has been posted publicly.
Yes.
So it's already out in the public. It's on the state board website. So there will be a process, but it was voted on. That's why I went ahead and put it out. It wasn't that I was circumventing. Y'all went ahead and put out what you voted on.
I would like to speak in support of adding Sunday to the early voting for the municipal election.
Okay, thank you.
When we had early voting in the presidential, what hours did we have?
1 to
3 hours. I think it was 3
1 to
hours.
4?
1 to 4.
Yeah.
I think it was 1 to 4.
And I don't recall the turnout. It was better in one area than it was in some other areas.
Right.
But, and then that was also a large election.
Yeah. Well, I'm sympathetic to the public comments and would be in support of rethinking the Sunday voting. I guess I would maybe suggest that we have it in the same hours we did last time, just to keep things consistent. Is there a great deal of expense between adding between 1 and 4 and 2 and 4?
Not a great deal of expense, but
But an expense. Yeah.
not a great deal. I mean, I would want input from the community that would be maybe organizing to come, because our factor in this is for this election, we would set up 2 laptops.
Right.
Because we don't want to have, we're always going to have 2.
Yes.
Because one goes down here. So we'll have 2 people working the laptops, and one of those will kind of interchange with doing the voting equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to have a significant turnout, then I need to be prepared for that staff-wise.
Certainly.
And we'd have to set up more equipment.
Yes.
So if you decide to do this, I do want buy-in from the community
Sure.
on maybe an estimated number.
Now, Kathy, would we incur the cost, the entire cost, or would it be the responsibility of the municipality?
It would be the responsibility of the municipality, and I have not contacted the municipality, any of the council members, to ask them if this is something that they're interested in. I've not done that because I wasn't instructed to.
In fact, it's their election. Shouldn't we maybe get some input from them before we make a decision?
And we are working on the timeline here. The deadline is Thursday.
I was about to say, but we have, I don't think we have time to contact each municipality unless we stop now and contact them, because I was going to ask Kathy, is there not a deadline for us to get this into Raleigh
Yes, ma'am.
through the process that I know that we have to go through? So we have to go through the process, and we have to have this in by the 20th. Is that not correct?
That's Thursday night.
It is. It's, I know we have just a couple of days if we're going to make a change.
Friday.
Is that not correct?
That's Friday.
That is correct. So, it would be up to, we'd have to make that decision today.
Well, again, I'll reiterate, just because that's another reason, because we didn't contact the municipality. We probably need to keep the cost down as much as we can. I don't have a problem with 2 hours, 2 to 4, and, if they're in line, whoever it is, they're gonna get the vote anyhow. So I would approve that, but that's about as far as I'm willing to go. And I understand if it's not unanimous, this board, that it'll go to Raleigh. If it's not unanimous, but
Okay,
I don't think, I'm not trying to disenfranchise anybody from voting. I don't think that it's, I don't necessarily have a problem with doing the Sunday voting. I just worry about if we're gonna open this up for 40 people, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to show up to early vote.
Yeah.
Because what was the total number of early voting last time for the municipal elections? I mean, it was,
I can give you that number.
yeah, it was over 1,500.
Right.
We had 3 sites, and each site was almost equal. It was like 500, just about 500 at each site.
Now, I'm sorry, I think I misunderstood. Are you asking how many people voted in the general election of November 2020?
no,
The
the
Sunday.
municipal election from 2019.
Oh, I thought you were asking
No,
how many
early.
voted on the Sunday election when we had.
No, I was just
Sunday
asking how many people actually voted in 19 on the actual municipal election.
Municipal election. Oh, okay.
You know,
I thought I had it in my notes from the last minute meetings.
It looks like it was 1,967.
Look at you.
that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, here we go. The total for 2019, for 2019, for the November election, that's all the cumulative 10 municipalities. We voted a total of 7,692. And that was not our highest year.
Yeah.
Our highest year was 8,002, which is not, it's a fragment, it's about $600, 600 voters more. But I guess I'm saying our maximum turnout's 8,200, around 8,200.
I don't really care about what the city council, I mean, I think our responsibility is to the electorate and ensuring that they're allowed to vote, so I don't, you know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
that's,
I would be afraid we don't run anything else
Right.
in terms of the voting schedule by the municipalities. So it seems like that one detail would be kind of odd to break out from the others.
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's
Start
gonna be.
requesting,
Well, and the reason I said that, Noah, was we've traditionally stuck with the 8 to 5 hours, so
Yeah.
there hasn't been any reason to contact them in the past
we've
to ask
not
for extra.
opted for any extra
Right,
hours
so-
above.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why the
Right.
one time, I will take it back, the one time that we did stay up until maybe 6, a few days, we didn't contact them because we had budgeted, it was in the year that the General Assembly changed the early voting days. You remember it went from 16 to 12 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We did not contact them then because we had the money.
Yeah.
We had budgeted the money ourselves, so if they didn't want it, we were covered to do that extra hour. And it was kind of a test to see how many people showed up in that extra hour, which it was so minuscule, we've not tried it again. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Why
I think
I
so.
mentioned that?
Yes, that is an important distinction.
But Kathy, is this gonna, if we pass Sunday voting, is that gonna cause any changes in the budget?
I don't think it'll be significant.
Okay,
I mean, as long as, there's not gonna be 20,000 people in line and,
Yeah.
But again, like Dorothy said, if they're there, they get to stand in line.
Yeah.
We'll get them through. It might take a
Well,
minute,
that's the thing.
but we'll get them through. And that is something we need to reiterate to, if you choose to do it, is for
Okay.
patients.
Okay, so what I am hearing is, am I understanding that everyone is in favor of adding Sunday voting? I think the question now, but the question is the time, whether it's 2 to 4, 1 to 4, or is that what we're saying? Keep in mind, what I'd like us to keep in mind when we're considering hours or whatever is that it has to be staffed. And I'm not talking about the staff from the Board of Elections. I'm talking about these people you're trying to get to work on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And, oftentimes right now, we're still looking for people because people still COVID shy, so I think you've lost a lot of people who ordinarily would have been willing to come. Matter of fact, you probably would have had too many. Now you can't pay people extra to come. So that, that certainly has to be a concern of ours also, because we will have to staff, from the, people to get people to work we do have to get people to work those hours. Okay.
Currently, we have, if you don't mind me taking the floor, currently, we've not told the workers that Jeanette has secured for the early voting.
Mm-hmm.
They have been secured for both elections.
Right.
They were willing to commit to both elections. They're workers that we have used at early voting consistently, but she did not even mention to them a Sunday, so I don't know what their feelings will be on that.
Okay.
Madam
Okay.
Chair,
Yes.
I heard Dan say something about if the vote isn't unanimous, that it would have to go to Raleigh.
It
Is
does.
that as part of the process?
Yes.
Okay. And,
Yes.
and in going to Raleigh, will that create a bottleneck for getting it through, or?
Well, ordinarily it would, but it probably would create a bottleneck unless they do it immediately because of the time factor. I'm thinking because of the time frame, because it has to be in Raleigh by the 20th, and then they would have to get back to us now.
Mhm.
And so that we can then go ahead and publicize
Mhm.
the new date, and then Raleigh will have the new date as well.
Mhm.
I heard Dan say 2 to 4.
Yeah.
I think that'd be willing to do that as well. I mean, that way you're not interfering if some worker wants to go to church, that isn't enough time to go to church, get home, eat, and then come to work that day. I don't think I'd really want to, with such a small election, I don't think I'd really want to do more than that.
If it starts at 1, a lot of churches go later on
Mine does.
Sundays, and if if the workers have to come in an hour early, you're talking 12 o'clock. Well, I don't know if any churches is not, still going on at 12, and then the fact they staying over another hour, if we go say like 2 to 4, well, that gets them through at 5. Well, a lot of churches start back in the afternoon service at 6. That gives them time to get done and get home. So that's the reason, I've thought this thing long and hard for 2 weeks now since we started getting, the letters. And
Mhm.
to me, just 2 to 4 makes sense, especially in a municipal election. I can understand in a general election with just the vast numbers of people that we have voting, but it affords people the opportunity, if they cannot get off during the week or on Saturdays, 2 to 4, they'll have the knowledge, be publicized, they could come in and vote during that time. That's just my thinking.
I would prefer 1 to 4, but in light of the comments that 2 to 4 is the limit that some on the board are willing to go to in order to make sure that we have the early voting on Sunday, I would be in support of 2 to 4 on that one Sunday.
Okay.
I can support that as well. 2 to 4. I can support 2 to 4.
Okay, we've had enough, everything in other discussion, because at this time we can move quickly and someone can, and I would need a motion so that the executive director will know where to go with this. So is there a motion to add Sunday voting to the, yes, come in.
I'm sorry, please read it. You remember I sent you the email from the attorney at the state about how we should proceed with changing the vote. Did you get that?
I'm sure I did, but you can remind me, which would be
You pulled it
fine.
up. When you said that, I thought you didn't bring it, so.
No, I didn't bring anything.
Because you can read it, so you'll tell them what we're saying before, while I look for it.
I have to pull it up too.
Let's see, I can probably find it from later.
Yeah, you can find it quicker than I can.
I bet I can, that's how I do it. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Okay. Sorry, it's not bigger.
Okay. Currently, your board has a unanimous plan. Robert's rules provide the process for a member seeking to revisit a vote from a prior meeting. A motion to rescind is another option. It requires a 2/3 vote. A 2/3 votes, B, a majority vote with notice of intent to make the motion stating the complete substance of the proposed change has been given at the previous meeting or in the call of the present meeting, or C, a vote of a majority of the entire membership, whichever is most practical to obtain. A motion to reconsider would not be in order because this must be made at the same meeting that the original motion was made. Of course, if you don't have a meeting scheduled, your chair or 3 members would have to agree to call a meeting to consider this matter. The deadline to submit one-stop plans for the November election is August 20th. Let me know if you need more information. Yeah, I know that. What it is, I know what he's saying, and that's the process we're following. What it is, in order to add to, we are not getting ready to rescind anything. All we are getting ready to do is add a day to what we've already planned, number one. Number two, Robert's rule says that if you're on the winning side, you can bring it back to the table. Since it was unanimous, that means any one of us can bring it back to the table. So we have public comments, and so that is why I asked each board member to respond, because you can, because everybody voted for the current plan. So now what we want to do is we don't have to rescind. All we have to do is amend and add to what we have already voted on. That's all I need. So I need a motion to add Sunday to the current plan and with the time. And what I need for, or what the chair needs, is for someone to make a motion to add a Sunday to the current plan, giving the date and the time. That's what is needed. Yes, sir.
Can I have a little more discussion just on because we have 2 possible Sundays, right? It would be either the 16th or the 23rd of October. So we need to
That's true.
specify.
No, that is not true. It would be the 17th or the 24th.
I'm sorry, I was on Saturdays. I guess I would suggest the 24th.
I don't have any preference either way.
I'm saying. That sounds fine, though.
All right.
So are you making a motion?
I make the motion that we add to our one-stop plan for the October municipal elections a Sunday of early voting on October 24th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.
I'll say.
It has been properly moved and second that we add Sunday, October 24th, to our one-stop voting plan in October the 24th, from 2:00 p.m. until 4:00 p.m. Any question? It's been properly moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries. So we will be adding, Madam Chair, Madam Executive Director, Sunday, October 24th, from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. Thank you.
Now, what we will do is the same procedure that we did last time. We'll go back to the office. We'll have to redo the paperwork, and y'all will have to shoot down and sign it. And we'll need that signed by
20.
the 20th, which is Friday.
Yeah.
I'll try to have it done tomorrow. I'll call you, or have staff call you when it's ready, so you don't make it enter it.
Kathy, I will be leaving tomorrow. I'll be out of town Thursday and Friday. Is there any way I can virtually sign if it's not ready?
I think so. I just send you a document, and then you can download it and sign it.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. And we want to thank, the public or those who sent in comments. Okay, we're down to number 4, resolution and a time to meet to count absentee ballots, October and November, Madam E.D.
Okay, now we did, okay. We did everything as far as our resolutions in the last meeting, except for this one resolution. And this resolution is the time when you meet on election day to count. And I've struggled with this, and today I struggle with it even more. And I will go into that with you later on in our other business. The board will meet in here, is what I'm thinking, since we have the tabulator. We'll meet in here to do the tabulation that we're announcing. But, well, like I said, I'll go over that in a minute. But then we will meet back at the Board of Elections building that evening to display the results. And of course, it wouldn't have to be in as formal of a setup, I can still spread you apart that day. So it was just struggling to figure out where we were going to be, because the Board of Elections office is too small to do the counting. That was really, really bad in November of last year because we were on top of each other. So I know we're going to be in 2 places, but then I thought, well, we're not inconveniencing the public by asking them to come 2 places, because no matter where I inconvenience you to go, the public will be watching virtually. So that's why I struggled with that. So I did go ahead and set it up just for the virtual. I just created a new sentence that we had never used before, saying that the meetings could be observed via YouTube. So, and those are at 2:00 on election day. You come in, we run on both election days. You come in and we run the ballots, and then you dismiss, and then we come back together in the evening. We say 7:30. If we don't have a full board present, as long as we have 3 members present, we're okay. And that may be what you choose to do if COVID is rampant, is to have 3 members there. Madam Chair, I believe you'll have to be one of the members,
Yes.
because your name is the one that has to sign. But we will work it out. I think it'll work out. I just put 2 copies in case one got destroyed.
Any questions about the resolution or anything you just heard from the executive director? Okay. And of course, we'll get a reminder, so we'll put this on our calendar and you'll know the dates and times again for the counting of the absentee ballots in October and November. Okay. Next on our agenda is the appointment of chief judges and judges for the 2021-2023 term. And we have permanent appointments and temporary appointments for October or November 2021.
Okay, at this point, I do not have any temporary replacements. As far as today, these are all permanent positions unless someone resigns once they receive their certificate. But all these are people that we sent forms out to and asked them if they wanted to come back to work as a chief judge, would they rather be assistant, or they'd rather be taken off. I had right many that declined to come back, either aged out or just didn't want to do it any longer. So everyone that's in their position, they have all agreed, that they would do it. And the new people that are gonna be chief judges, I did call, they stated that on their form, but I did call them to verify that was what their intentions were. And then the color codes, the yellow is vacant positions. We have no temporary at this time. The reddish orange color is the new Republican chief judge or judge. The blue is for the Democrat, new chief judge or judge. And the gray color is for unaffiliated chief judge or judge. So the ones that have the color coded are the ones that are, they're either, most people have worked. I had, one person only that's gonna be a chief judge that has never worked before, but, he comes highly recommended, and his mother was a chief judge at Morton Precinct, and that is, Scott Dale. And so his mother is going to help him along in doing this process. All the other people have either been temporary judges in the November election, or they've been assistants at a precinct. I had one lady, in East Graham, she worked one stop, and she was a very good worker, so I called her, and she agreed today that she would do it. I had, when I finished this last week, I've been working hard on it, and I had 4 Republicans that were needed and 1 Democrat. So I reached out to Elliott and to Omar and Ben York for the Republican side, and Elliott, was for the Democratic, party. He only had 1 position for the Democratic Party, and they have put it out on social media, but as of this morning, has not had anyone respond to that. The hardest part about that position is in Boone 5 precinct, and I need that person to live in Boone 5, so it makes it a little more harder to find someone. I've tried, but either if someone lived there, they were the wrong party. So if you know of anybody at all, that's willing to be a Democratic judge, at Boone 5, that would be very helpful. Because Elliott told me that he's put it out on social media and no one has responded. Also with the Republican side, yesterday I had 4 openings, and so I had filled 3 of them, and now 1 is left, and they could not find anybody for that position. Oh, they did fill 1 position at North Thompson. Ben York found someone there to work. And she's never worked as a judge, but I know her. She's one of my neighbors. She'll do an excellent job. But I filled 2 yesterday, and then we still have the 1 left in Pleasant Grove, Republican judge there that's open. Does anybody have any questions?
So you have, for the October primary, you have a full slate of people currently.
Yes. I do.
And for November?
For November, I just need an opening in Boone 5, and Pleasant Grove will be closed this year, so it's not as much pressure for that one.
Good job, Jeanette. Hard work.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Yes, very good, but we do need, you say you do need Boone 5 for October, November, you do, yeah,
Yes.
you do need Boone 5 for, okay. For,
Jeanette, do you have any precincts that you feel like they would need, somebody to serve as an assistant who is a tenured chief judge or judge in another precinct to help out?
I do. The hardest ones were East Graham and North Graham. and South Graham. Well, no, well, not North Graham, it's just East Graham and South Graham. I had all three of those judges to quit. So they're all three new. Jamie Lynn Fussell is going to be, she agreed to be the chief judge. She has been a prior judge in a different state. And she came, I tried to get her to be a chief judge in November, but she said she would be a judge and see how it went. She did that. And I called her, she was more than happy to say this time she would serve as a chief judge. And then, Carter has been there, so that did have one left, I'm sorry. Carter has been a judge there at East Graham. But Paula, she's never been a judge, but she's the lady that worked one stop. And then at, South Graham, those three, Denise Tipton was an assistant in November, and she's highly recommended by someone also. And Rachel Brooks worked as an assistant in November, but at a different precinct. And Nikki Dew worked as a temp judge at Melville 3 in November. But she was more than happy to give it a try to be a chief judge. So I feel confident with those people. Jodine, and I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. And
Murder.
M4.
Murder, she's a professor at Elon.
She is,
I took several classes from her.
Yes, I'm very thrilled with her. I spoke with her yesterday.
Yeah.
She did work as a temp judge in November at Burlington 9.
She's a good lady.
She is.
Yeah.
So, and then also, where Dan's daughter Candace is going to be a chief judge at Melville 4. She served as a temp judge in November.
Yeah.
Robert Pierce has been a judge several times.
She's a good teacher.
And Sam Beaudry worked as an assistant, so I feel the need, we need someone in that one as well. I think everybody else looks good, so maybe, 3 precincts.
So, Madam Chair and Board, are you opposed to Jeanette suggesting to the chief judges if, where there are predominantly new people, that they use as one of their assistants or some of their assistants, chief judges and judges from precincts that are not open to help as a kind of training mentor?
Yes?
No problem, Madam ED. Okay. Any questions? About the appointments thus far? We need a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Properly moved and second that the appointment of these are for the permanent appointments for 2021, 2023 term. Any questions, comments? Huh?
21, 22.
Okay, so
They'll be reappointed in 23.
so we have 2023 on here. We need to change that to 2022.
Well, actually, Jeanette, we have it right because they don't make the appointments again until 2023.
Okay.
If we were to have a special election of some kind in 2023, at the beginning of the year, then this group would be responsible for conducting this.
So, right, so it is 2021 through 2023. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, Madam ED, we're down to other business.
Okay, the other business I bring to you today is, in my mind, devastating to our office. I got a call after I left a doctor's appointment yesterday from the county manager. And this facility has been sold. We are being required to vacate the facility by October the 30th.
Of this year.
Yes, ma'am. I asked the county manager and the assistant county manager if there was a way that we could talk the new owner or the current owners into letting us stay 2 weeks, at least to get our things back from the November election, because when you look at our election schedule, we will have our election on October the 5th. I keep saying October the 5th. We will canvass on the 12th. We will start early voting on the 14th. And if we have to be out of here on the 29th, we are going to be giving out supplies and putting supplies together on Sunday the 31st and giving them out on Monday the 1st of November for the election on November 2nd. So again, I consider this devastating news. I was not satisfied with the answer we asked and they said no. I'm not above begging. And so I contacted the person that's selling the facility and I have begged, that's why you see me keep looking at my phone. I've made contact with him and begged him to speak to the purchaser of the building, the person that's buying the building, and see if they would, civically consider helping the county to stay here, and I have not received a response yet.
Do we know who's purchasing? Maybe one.
No, I asked, and he said he could not reveal that. So that,
Okay.
So that is bad for the upcoming election, but also bad in general, in the big picture.
Yeah.
Because that means the facility that we've been hoping for as a solution to all of our problems
Gone.
is unavailable.
So, what is our alternative?
I asked them, and they have no alternative at this point. It was fresh to them. They knew nothing. They got the call apparently yesterday.
Who's that?
The county management team got the call apparently, or they may have been served with papers saying that, the lease was ending and it wouldn't be renewed. That's the end of our lease.
Right.
So,
The end of the county's lease of this property from the actual owner who's now going to be selling it to someone not the county. So it was not offered to the county. It was offered to the county and the county turned it down. We assume the county's not buying it.
Regardless, they don't
At the
have it.
last meeting, well, not last night's meeting, but the meeting before that, I think, or the meeting before. Within the past month, the county manager presented it to the county commissioners. They did not seem to be receptive of buying the whole facility. They wanted to see what else was available. They said, retrofitting it was going to be more expensive than they wanted to spend. I spoke with the chair and it explained to her, they asked me if we could get everything in the building. And, technically we could have gotten everything in the building, but we would have been cramped. And so I suggested that we take the booths, those, the little dummy booths, that we take those and store them in self-storage, because we only touch those 2 days or 3 days a year, and they could stay in there at $100 a month.
Yeah.
And we could have that space free to utilize as office space. That apparently went over badly. They wanted to know everything was going in the same building. I didn't think it was a deal breaker at all. But the commissioners did, apparently, and they would not give the okay to move forward. We're going to be meeting every week soon, so I'll keep you posted. Obviously, you as quickly as I know something.
Yeah.
So right now, we've got about 50 days left in this building. We've got to be out. Yeah. Yeah.
And in between that, we have to conduct an election. We've already had our training materials, obviously, planned, and on the video, just showing them how to come into the facility, where to come, all the information. It's going to be a challenge.
But regardless, of whether or not we can get new space, additional time here on the current lease, we're still gonna have to find some other space down the road.
Yes, sir. And if you look behind you at that big red cart,
Uh-huh.
we were planning on putting those big red carts in here, and we will need somewhere to put 47 of those.
So we need large space. There is no way we can get those in Graham. No way.
We can't get what's in that side of the building.
I know.
Right. We can't, we're.
Well, as a matter of fact, we can't get anything else in
That's right.
Graham.
We can't get anything
We
else.
can't get anything else at the, space, down on Maple Street in Graham. There's no way.
And are we responsible for finding our own space, or will the county manager help with that, or?
In the past, I have beat my head against the wall. I found this space. And again, it was offered back when we moved in 2019, it was offered that I considered and the board considered to be a fair price. But the county did not purchase it. And they later leased A for the tax, COVID, where you could drive through and drop off. And so it's leased through the end of this month, I believe.
Is there any way we could get one of those at the next county commissioners meeting and say, we'll take any recommendation that you have to put in, store 37 of these red, just this. I mean, sometimes, they need to see. I don't think they understand the magnitude, all of the, what has to be protected. All that has to be stored and protected.
It's a security issue, it's a health issue,
Yes,
it's a elections issue.
so we didn't move quickly enough on this space. Now we don't have it. We moved. Yeah, I know.
So to answer your question, I was told by the assistant county manager today that she has someone looking for us some property somewhere to take. And they wanted to come look at the area to see exactly what had to be secured. And particularly that room over there has to be, that has to be. We just put in an elaborate alarm system in this building. Just finished. Cameras and everything. And that's gonna have to be removed. That's purchased with grant funds, so we're gonna have to pay money to get that removed. And they call it demolition, get that removed and then reinstalled wherever we go.
So as Dan said, we have about maybe 50 days in this building. So we have about 50 days to find some place to put all of this.
All our stuff.
Yes, that room and this room, we have
And
about,
this is our meeting room and this is,
but we have all of this, all of the material that's in here. We, you can't get that in Graham. We're not even gonna consider what's in that room over there, we know. So to find some space.
What is that the previous, not, I don't want to say out loud because I know there's a security issue, but the previous location where a lot of the machines and stuff were held, is that still open? Are we still utilizing that?
The voting equipment.
So that's all that's there and
that's
there's
still-
no room for anything
Yeah,
else.
that's still fully functional, same footprint, same everything.
Right. But, and there's no room. I mean, that's about stacked full anyway right now.
Yeah.
And ideally, it would all be in the same place. Not,
Ideally, possibly what could have happened, but it's not going to, is that we would have gotten the carts in, have them loaded, and where the shelves are at the warehouse, the voting equipment warehouse, we could have taken the shelves out and moved the carts in, and I don't still know that we could have gotten everything in there, but we could have been close. But we still would have needed right much of that side that we wouldn't have an answer for. But at least we have somewhere for the carts to go. But they're supposed to be delivered in early December from the vendor.
So we will not have these carts for the municipals.
That was a bottleneck in state procurement.
Mm-hmm.
There's always one.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if we see any, if they, since they're going to look for space, if we see any of space that we think we can recommend to the ED, please do so. I just don't see, and I know a question came up about whether or not, well, that was for voting though, but whether the office should be in the county seat.
And I got an answer on that. And
Yeah.
I sent that to Mr. Boney, and I think, did I send it to y'all?
I don't think you
I know I
said
sent
that.
it to the county manager, but
Yeah,
the answer is no from the state attorney, that there is no legal requirement for the county board of elections office to be in the county seat. Sometimes it has been traditional. Well, many times it was traditional, but as we moved into larger areas and smaller downtowns, smaller areas around courthouses, and more stuff,
mhm.
the board of elections required to remain secure and to run an election. It's just every elections office is run out of space.
So in terms of training, where will we have hold the training once we lose this building?
Well, we have already secured the Family Justice Center for
Okay,
training, because some of the training
Yeah.
was gonna overlap if we have in-person training, because
Right.
Judson and I are still working on that. But, especially since so many of our people have worked before in some
Right.
capacity, that's gonna help us a little bit, but we have secured the auditorium at the Family Justice Center for that training, because we have the auditorium at the, county annex building for the early voting.
right,
Mhm.
And make sure your party chairs understand to tell their candidates that the early voting is not in the elections office. It's never not been in the elections office in a municipal year. But because of COVID, it's going to be in the same place we hold early voting every other year.
Mhm.
So we will have to have, in 50 days, we will have to have some place to put stuff.
In 50 days.
Well, we keep saying 50 days. I know.
yeah, it might be there too more than 50, but it's close, I think.
Well, I mean,
But
you have,
In terms of whether, sorry, go ahead.
303 minus what's today?
I mean, you know, you have to, well,
229.
you still have to get it packed up and ready to go.
That's right,
So you know, it's gonna take time.
Yep.
To get it packed, so it'll take 10 days to get all of this packed, so whether it's, you know,
Which we don't have.
right.
10 days we don't have.
Because we're running an
They're
election
not gonna
with
give
the
us
same,
10 more days.
the same people that
That's
will
what I'm
be,
saying, we, yeah,
the same people that will be administrating the election will be the same people that will be doing the packing.
yes.
And so are they assuring us that they will find us space or?
Well, I don't think they have any choice but to assure us that
Yeah,
they're gonna
got
find
to.
us. They'll have to put us somewhere, because our cars aren't big enough to haul all this stuff around here for several weeks. And we have 2 vans, but I just don't think it'll fit.
So now the question will be,
To give a curt answer, they won't have to.
so then the concern becomes, do they find a place that is just temporary that that we would have to then do it all over again? Or will they find a place that's permanent that could then,
don't have an answer to that.
Yeah.
My hope would be the latter, that they would find somewhere that we would be permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it can't be just any place, we're still talking about security and the whole 9 yards, so you just can't. Access, yes.
Parking and regress and egress for the chief judges and judges bringing back their supplies.
And I'm sure most of us at the table know from a historical perspective, Kathy started out in that little small building, just to the right of the sheriff's office there. And David Cheek and I, we knew that house was there, and we got her moved in that house where we're at now, when I was commissioner, and that's been outgrown. You look at the significant growth of the county from then till now, folks, we got to find a bigger building. It's got to happen. I mean, it's outgrown. All you got to do is walk in the board of elections and look, and you'll see that I mean, it's just, it's outgrown, and there's nothing, to me, there's nothing more important or sacred than the protection of the rights of the citizens in terms of voting. So, hopefully our county managers expediting looking at places now.
I do know that a person has been contacted and will be looking,
Yeah.
but there's not much out there.
Yeah.
And there's just really not.
I mean, even if we had to rent a place for 2 years,
Which is what we did here.
yeah, that's what we did here. I mean, it's got to be done.
I wish we had rented it from November to November though.
Yeah, that'd been helpful. We'd have had another, 30 days, and that would sure help.
But I wasn't even greedy when I spoke to the gentleman today. I said, if you can just get us through the 12th of November. I said, I'm just literally begging you to do that. So,
And see, on top of that, on top of this election, we have to move, and then you're running into another election. I mean, it's just like there is no time. There is no time, because, the next filing starts in December.
And we could face a runoff in between, right? It could be a separate, as far as municipalities, that'd be in the general election.
the law doesn't allow for that.
Be a recount.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
You just have a recount, maybe. You have a recount.
There's possibility.
Yeah.
I'd say there's
Right,
probably
see.
a possibility of a recount in
Yeah.
Burlington Municipal, as many candidates as we have and as few people as we have turning out, statistically, it's gonna be a narrow vote margin.
In other words, it could be other business still going on right in the middle of what we're looking at here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there will be other business going on, because you're trying to pack up one, get one out of the way, and then get ready for
Start another.
another. Yeah. Okay, so you will keep us posted, and if we see a large secure, and the reason I mentioned that it doesn't have to be in the county seat, so if we see something close by, that's secure, safe, a lot of, lighting, I mean, just, we
No
can
glass fronts, you see,
Yeah.
like what we have is a solid
Yeah.
brick, completely
then,
around the perimeter building.
yeah, make a recommendation on something that you have seen, but you see how long, well, we know the needs, we can see what's going on and what the type of space that we really need now. Yeah. Okay. That was a bummer of other business, so.
Okay, so we'll move on to the closed session.
Yes. All right, so that takes care of other business. We will now move into closed session. Need a motion to go into closed session, and when you make the motion, please state what is taking us into closed session, please.
It's personnel matter, I forgot to put that on
Yeah.
there.
Madam Chair, in reference to the North Carolina General Statute, 143-318-11A6, I'll make the motion that we go into closed session for the purpose of talking about a personnel matter.
Second,
Properly moved in second, that we go into closed session, regarding the personnel, matter. All in favor? Closes. Jason, we off camera?
We are now.
Thank you so much.
And